Tonight on CFTK-TV News, charges have been laid against the suspect in the CEO murder case. Donald Trump made some pot-stirring controversial comments, and Taylor Bachrach was baffled by questions of his not being answered properly.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin, and here's what's making news in the Northwest and beyond today. The Northwest community relies largely on transportation through railway, and MP Taylor Bachrach was baffled with Transport Canada yesterday after he found out that many of his questions were not answered correctly. CFTK-TV's Dalian Smith has more.
Taylor Bachrach, who is the Skeena-Bulkley Valley Member of Parliament, initiated 6 days of parliamentary hearing to assess if communities in the Northwest are adequately protected from spills and fires that may result by the transport of dangerous goods in the area.
I think people deserve answers to their questions, and they deserve the assurance that their life and their property is safe from the transportation of dangerous goods, and even perhaps more importantly, first responders who are responsible for responding to incidents when things go wrong and put their life on the line, dedicate their time to protecting their neighbors. They have questions as well, and I believe they deserve answers.
And some topics were tackled, such as key routes, risk assessments, capacity of local responders, and how Transport Canada assesses municipal water supplies. And these key route risk assessments were a topic of confusion between the two parties.
I was a little bit surprised by the responses regarding the key routes risk assessment. So as I understand it, these are risk assessments that the government requires the rail companies to do. And they submit the risk assessments to the regulator, to Transport Canada, but Transport Canada does not approve them. And there is no definition of what an adequate risk assessment looks like.
And towards the end of the briefing, Bachrach questioned Transport Canada's top officials who are responsible for dangerous goods and rail safety.
Where do you go from there? I'm baffled. I want to provide assurance to people in the communities I represent that they're being adequately protected by your department. You're the Director General of Transportation of Dangerous Goods, and yet I've asked dozens of questions that haven't had answers. Are first responders right to be concerned about the ability, the capacity, the resources, the tools that they have to protect communities from the products that you approve the shipment of?
From CFTK-TV, I'm Damian Smith.
Residents of Prince Rupert will have to continue boiling their water through the holidays as the city has extended their boil water notice for a few more weeks. The city says it's to address risks associated with the onboarding of a new water supply main and to ensure water testing shows that the system is consistently meeting quality standards. A boil water notice means that residents and water system users must heat the water to a rapid boil for at least a minute, then cool it and place it in a food-grade storage container. This must be done before brushing your teeth, drinking and cooking, washing vegetables for consumption raw, and the making of ice. Use of water for both bathing and washing clothes is considered safe without boiling. Both ski hills in the Northwest have now opened for the season, albeit not quite completely. Shames Mountain Co-op opened this past weekend with a soft opening, only running the green carpet. The mountain said in a statement that they had intended to open fully, but the 100 millimeters of rain that fell on the slopes last week resulted in poor conditions on the hill. The most recent snow report lists 75 centimeters of snow at the bottom T-bar. Hudson Bay Mountain is also open as well, with early season conditions and a mid-mountain base of 55 centimeters, with 3 of 4 lifts operational. Charges have been laid in the brazen murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is accused of gunning the executive down in New York last week. Now he's being held in a Pennsylvania prison without bail. CTV's Joy Melbon has the latest details.
Arriving in court in handcuffs, Luigi Mangione was shouting, struggling with officers in Pennsylvania. New pictures show the 26-year-old eating breakfast at that McDonald's before a 911 tip led police to arrest him.
Didn't even think twice about it. We knew that was our guy. Once we found out his identity, we took it from there.
They asked if he'd been to New York, and officers say he was nervous and began shaking. Overnight, prosecutors charged Mangione with murder for last week's targeted killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Searching his backpack, officers found a ghost gun similar to the weapon used to kill Thompson, along with multiple fake IDs, $10,000 in cash, and a handwritten manifesto slamming United Healthcare. He wrote, "These parasites had it coming. I do apologize for any strife or trauma, but it had to be done." From a high school valedictorian and privileged upbringing, now accused of murder. Family and friends are stunned and distraught by his arrest, saying he became reclusive and was reported missing last month.
He confirmed that he had surgery, and he sent me the x-rays. It looked heinous with just giant screws going into his spine.
I don't think anyone should feel bad about this.
Thompson's killing unleashed a torrent of hate online against the health insurance industry, and the vigilante in the mask hailed as a hero.
In America, we do not kill people in cold blood to resolve policy differences. Hear me on this. He is no hero.
Mangione was denied bail at a court hearing this afternoon and will fight extradition back to New York, where he faces that murder charge. Joy Melbourne, CTV News, Washington.
Coming up next, Vancouver recently approved its new city budget. Welcome back. They haven't even sat in the legislature yet, but the BC Conservatives are already struggling with party unity, as 13 of the MLAs are pressuring one of their colleagues to apologize after a clash over cancel culture. CTV's Rob Buffum has more on the political wrangling underway.
No comment for today, thank you.
A steady stream of BC Conservative MLAs made their way through the press gallery to a caucus meeting, dodging reporters' questions.
I'll leave that at no comment. Thank you.
Some newbies meeting there in person for the first time. The frenzy after 13 MLAs sent a letter to party leader John Rustad asking him to ask colleague Eleanor Sturco to apologize for supporting the Vancouver Police Board. It accepted a vice chair's resignation over controversial online posts, including allegations Christianity is being erased from schools. Some of the Conservatives believe cancel culture is at play.
I think she needs to apologize.
Sturco says she won't apologize or meet with Comfort Sakoma and stands her ground.
Sure, do we have our kind of growing pains right now? Yes. But I absolutely am having, a good time working with people who are absolutely new to this realm.
Rustad met with the ousted vice chair and suggests Sturco offer an olive branch, but also is adamant she doesn't have to.
Look at any family in the province. There are issues that crop up within families, and we are just a large family.
He wants both sides to find room to agree to disagree under his newly minted Big Tent Party.
If people want free speech means people have the right to say things that other people may disagree with, and it's okay to have differences.
It's bigger than what appears to be on the surface. My best guess is that John Rustad is not going to be the leader in the next election for the BC Conservatives.
After the meeting, the group filed out for a family photo with any caucus tensions left behind closed doors. Robert Buffum, CTV News, Victoria.
Vancouver City Council has finally approved its budget with another increase for taxpayers. As Isabella Zavarisi reports, Vancouver police didn't quite get everything they asked for. Meanwhile, staff are being cagey about some details.
It's official. Vancouver taxpayers are facing a 3.9% hike to their property tax bill next year, about $150 for the average family.
3.9% is going to sound really good to the taxpayers of the city, no doubt. I do always worry, is it artificially low? Like, where do those savings just all of a sudden magically appear from?
We found a couple of, about $22 million in inefficiencies. So that's a big deal.
Initially, it had looked like the hike would be 5.5%.
If you're a resident of the City of Vancouver, or if you own a business in the City of Vancouver, if you support our team members, if you believe in fiscal responsibility, today's a great day.
The city says new revenue came from increasing sponsorship fees and naming rights, and the ABC majority insists they're not cutting services. One of the biggest lines in the budget was the Vancouver Police Department. The VPD had asked for nearly $23 million and instead received around $14 million.
We were asking for a little bit more, but I'm happy with the amount that was decided upon. It allows us to address the critical areas that we wanted to.
We came to an agreement where, given all the objectives we want to achieve, this budget works for the police force as well.
In total, it'll cost a whopping $2.4 billion to run the city of Vancouver next year. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
Turning to tonight's weather, the North Coast will see some rain and a low at 7 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area is expected to deal with periods of snow and a low down at 0 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District is expecting to get its own snow, but with a low of -5 degrees. On the North Coast, the next week or so should see a variety of conditions from rain to mixed sun and clouds to flurries as the high moves from 7 to 2 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, the week for them will be home to lots of flurries with some snow and rain as well, while the high shifts from 2 to -5 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the upcoming week is supposed to deal with mixed sun and cloud days, as well as snowy days, while their high bounces between -1 and -10 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is slippery sections, utility work, limited visibility, snowing, and electrical maintenance. Highway 35 has slippery sections, and 118 has some slippery sections too. Highway 37 has some limited visibility slippery sections, and the Moonlit Creek Rest area at Kitwanga Lake Road South is closed due to flooding. Highway 37A has ditching. There's some limited visibility on the Nishka Highway, and the Telegraph Creek Road has slippery sections as well. And this is what the roads were looking like. Still to come, a young Canadian soccer player got caught up in literal crossfire. Welcome back. A new social media post by Donald Trump on Canada is provoking strong reactions. Trump referred to the Prime Minister as the Governor of the great state of Canada. Joke or not, it's a comment some Canadians are likely to find offensive, and it comes after economic threats by Trump to hit Canada with significant new tariffs. CTV's Mike Lake-Couture has more.
A day after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Canada would respond to unfair tariffs from the U.S., the president-elect continued to needle Canada about becoming the 51st U.S. state.
The Post refers to Trudeau as the governor of the great state of Canada, twice, a continuation of a comment he made during that dinner at Mar-a-Lago where Donald Trump suggested if our country can't survive without a trade imbalance, maybe Canada should become the 51st state.
It sounds like we're living in an episode of South Park.
Cabinet reaction ranged from flippant to firm.
Clearly, he's joking. We're a sovereign nation.
The very first meeting that the president had with a G7 country was with Prime Minister Trudeau. That seems serious.
While federal politicians tried to downplay the war of words, Ontario's premier seemed to amp it up while boasting about his province's prowess in manufacturing.
And you wonder why, the President-elect Trump wants to put tariffs? Because we're a threat to the U.S., because we're a manufacturing powerhouse. We created more manufacturing jobs last year than all 50 U.S. states combined.
Flavio Volpe was involved in renegotiating the new NAFTA, and he says the real test will be when the countries sit down to crunch numbers.
And I know what the price of steel and aluminum and critical minerals are, and I know where they have to go to get that. So I know that they know how important we are to them for lots of reasons.
Now, Trump is threatening 25% tariffs because he claims illegal migrants and drugs are flowing into the U.S. over our border.
Can we expect a border plan before the House rises?
Soon.
Now, that possible border plan could be on the agenda tomorrow when Trudeau holds another virtual meeting with premiers to discuss Canada-US relations. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
A young soccer star from Langley is recovering in the ICU after being caught in the crossfire of a shooting in the United States. 22-year-old Nathan Damian got his start with the Vancouver Whitecaps Youth Academy and now plays for Ohio State. He had just finished a game when he was hit by a stray bullet. Shannon Patterson spoke to his family, who were worried that he wouldn't make it.
Born and raised in Metro Vancouver, Nathan Damian was living his dream, playing soccer for top-ranked Ohio State University, when he was shot during a post-game pizza run with his brother Saturday night.
I didn't actually see the cars, but from what I heard, there was two cars. They were shooting at each other from what it seemed, and he caught a stray bullet. It was nothing to do with us.
As Damian was rushed to hospital with a bullet wound in his abdomen, word spread to his extended family in BC.
Instantly, my whole body was in tremors, and my mom and I just fell to the ground, and when your knees give out and you have nothing left to hold on to.
They were going to call a code. They thought he wasn't making it, and they all they could do was keep him alive, and that was the first word we got from the surgeon.
Damian's mother and siblings raced to Columbus to be by his side as the 22-year-old fought for his life.
There was just no hesitation. We've got to be there. This is not Nathan's battle alone. This is all our battles.
Really, my only hope at that time was to hold his hand again, and you don't know.
From nearly dying on the operating table, Damian has made remarkable progress.
He's far surpassed what we could have ever imagined, from being alive to recovering to what we thought was going to be 4 surgeries, ending up to be just 1 surgery and completing it all.
He's a strong kid, and all the doctors have said he's going to make a really, really fast recovery.
Damian, who got his start with the Vancouver Whitecaps Academy Youth Program, hopes he isn't sidelined from Ohio State for long.
He's got one thing on his mind, and it's about the finals. His team is about to go to the Final Four and then hopefully the national championship, and that's all he can think about.
So even when he was in ICU, intubated, he was writing, "Is there any way you can get me to the Final Four?" That was his dream. So he didn't quite make it there, but they're all going to wear their badges with number 3 on them, so that in some way he's there.
As soon as Damian is well enough, he'll return to Langley to continue his recovery with family.
We did ask Nathan what he wants to communicate to people, and he wants to say thank you to God and thank you to his family and friends. Thank you to his coaches and teammates and all those that have carried him.
There's really nothing holding him back. He's kind of surpassed expectations every step of the way, and we're hoping that continues and that anything he wants to do, he can do, and beyond that.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
A Vancouver Island mother is raising concern after learning the words Santa, Christmas, and Rudolph have been removed from a song being performed at her son's school concert. As CTV's Adam McMillan explains, those concerns are part of a larger conversation about inclusivity.
With school holiday concerts happening this week, it's time for this Saanich student to memorize these song lyrics.
On the lyrics, it had like a black line going through the words that said Santa, Christmas, and Rudolph.
Marie Garvin says her son is in grade 4 and was told the lyrics were changed to be inclusive.
I'm in full support of all inclusion and diversity, and it just felt like we were erasing Christmas.
She says all cultures in a classroom are worth celebrating.
We want to be part of the community and learn about other traditions and holidays, so why can't we learn about a few and sing a song from these?
The Saanich School District Superintendent says there is no directive to ban certain words.
We're not canceling Santa or Rudolph in our schools. I can't speak as to why the teacher changed that particular lyric.
Dave Eberwin says the district is a secular organization.
Public schools are a place where every child should feel welcomed and should feel included and should feel represented in what the school offers in terms of its teachings and its learnings.
An inclusion consultant sees where both parties are coming from.
While the intention was good, the impact is that
a family in this case, but probably other families are feeling like Christmas is being canceled.
Andrea Carey thinks the adjusted lyrics are more inclusive, but says an explanation for the change could go a long way.
And the value is inclusion and belonging, and how we get there is around bringing people together and having a conversation and educating people about the different holidays that are part of this holiday season.
A season dedicated to joy and celebration. And on that point, Carey, Eberwin, and Garvin are united. Anna McMillan, CTV News, Saanich.
And now we turn our attention to how the stock markets look today compared to yesterday. The Canadian dollar is up 6/100ths of a cent, the price of gold is up $38.30, oil is up $1.70, natural gas is up 22 cents, aluminum is down $3.50, in Toronto the TSX is up 153.37 points, the Venture Index is up 3.93, in New York the Dow Jones is down 99.27, and NASDAQ is up 347.66. Still ahead, a woman's unexpected child delivery didn't stop her from attending the Eras Tour. Welcome back. A local woman didn't let an emergency C-section keep her from Saturday's Taylor Swift concert. Her baby arrived 6 weeks early, shows she wasn't quite ready for it, but staff at the BC Women's Hospital insisted she make it to the show as they cared for her newborn. CTV's Abigail Turner spoke to the new mom.
A night Aaron Button will remember all too well.
Vancouver. Welcome to the Eras Tour!
Just 24 hours before Taylor Swift was set to take the stage in Vancouver, she went to the hospital, 34 weeks pregnant.
Just for a routine check, we went to the hospital and things were pretty normal to begin with, and then all of a sudden, emergency C-section.
She became a mother 6 weeks earlier than expected.
Knowing that he was healthy coming out, that was a big thing. But I was like, no, I'm not ready. I have Taylor Swift tomorrow.
She bought her tickets more than a year ago, before she was pregnant. Hospital staff didn't want her to miss out on an unforgettable night.
I also didn't want to leave him, but the doctors and nurses at Lionsgate are so incredible, and I just felt comfortable to leave and know that, especially in the NICU, that he was covered, and the nurses were like, enjoy it now. Like, this is the kind of free babysitting.
She was discharged for 3 hours the next day, a last-minute decision.
Everyone really rallied, from the staff to her friends, and Aaron, of course, who was lying in a bed recovering, but the doctors okayed it, and I rented a wheelchair and got her out of the hospital.
Met by a very excited and glittery group of girlfriends outside BC Place, where they changed her seat to an accessible location. As the longtime fan enters her new mom era, she wonders if her son was a little impatient with her.
Maybe Wesley was a bit tired of hearing Taylor Swift being played all year, so he was like, I'm out of here.
A weekend the couple says they can't wait to tell Wesley about someday.
I was very emotional, obviously, so just so grateful that everything worked out.
Abigail Turner, CTV News, North Vancouver.
A University of Victoria microbiology graduate is heading to England after being named BC's 2025 Rhodes Scholar. The university said that Shailene Mihalinak is one of 11 Canadians and the only BC resident to be chosen. The scholarship provides 2 fully funded years of postgraduate studies at England's Oxford University. Mihalinak says the news is still sinking in, but she's honored and overjoyed to get selected. That's all of our news for now. From everyone at CFTK-TV News, I'm Kel Maslin. Thanks for watching.